Well, good morning folks, and welcome to another review. I trust last week many of you didn't get too emotional at the Queen's funeral. I certainly did. A rather amazing event. So I hope you'll forgive me for taking a week off. A very important thing for us in the UK here. But let's get back to what really matters here now. Next review. Welcome to another video review. We're in Africa again. We're in Central Africa. And this is the airport of KADUNA International Airport in central Nigeria, Delta November Kilo Alpha. This is a payware scenery by Make Africa Great Again. That's what the developer is named. Sceneries for both the PC and the Xbox versions of FLIGHTSIM 2020, and you're looking at version 1. The download is 445 meg. And it installs at 658 megs. So it's not a huge scenery by sort of FLIGHTSIM 2020 standards, but it's nice. I've spent a little bit of time looking over this, and very, very nice scenery. Yet another wonderful product to take you into Central Africa. It's available from both SIMMARKET and FLIGHTSIM.to. Prices are similar, but they're actually slightly cheaper at FLIGHTSIM.to, but we're only talking a few pence. So it works out at £10.30 UK, which equates to €11.46, or US $11.10. US and Euro prices are estimates and include VAT or tax, which of course may vary depending on your country of purchase. I think, if I'm right in saying, if you go onto the FLIGHTSIM.to website to purchase this product, it'll give you the price in your local currency, which will give you two prices. It will give you the price with and without tax, so that should help you. Quick look at the main features. Accurately modelled terminal and all surrounding buildings. 4K PBR textures used throughout for highest quality. Custom night lighting. Custom parking positions matching with real life, and I can confirm that they do as per the charts. Animated people. Okay, there are animated people, but not that many. Custom ortho photos, real world based terraforming profile, accurately placed static aircraft for the GA ramp, and something I'd not seen before, GSX profile is included. So that's a real good thing, I think. Really, he's actually done a profile for those users of GSX, which is great, because this airport has no jetways. It's literally open airport parking stands. But yeah, really excellent airport. As I say, I've had a detailed look over. There are one or two things missing. The control tower, the actual control tower, is missing. I'll show you a photo during when we have a look to show you what the real tower looks like at the airport. But everything else, he's gone to town, done quite a little bit of work here. The only other thing I can tell you is there's no interior modelling of the terminal, although externally it looks wonderful. So as ever, let's start with a bit of history. So I did some research on this airport. There's not an awful lot to tell you, except that it has had some history, particularly in terms of hijacking and terrorist activity over the early years. But these days it's a very different airport. KADUNA International Airport, Delta November Kilo Alpha, is a public military airport owned and operated by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, the FAAN. Airport serves the city of Kaduna, the capital of Kaduna State, in the Central African country of Nigeria. Kaduna Airport is 14 miles or 23 kilometers northwest of the city and opened in 1982 and is in the GMT +1 time zone, so essentially it's pretty much an hour ahead of UK. It's on the same time zone as the UK at the moment because we're still in summer. But when we go back to GMT in October, end of October, here in the UK, there's no daylight saving time in Nigeria. They remain on GMT +1. The airport receives regular scheduled international flights from Ethiopian Airlines, as well as frequent flights from Arik Air, Asman Air, Air Peace and Aero Contractors, and all major Nigerian carriers. Kaduna is especially busy during the Hajj and Umrah pilgrimage months. So the airport is rated as Category 7, which is a similar category to Heathrow actually, and has customs clearance facilities. Kaduna Airport operates from 0600 until 2300 local time and is closed outside of these hours. And Kaduna lies within the Kano Flight Information Region, or FIR, and mostly has a tropical savanna climate year-round. As you can see in the scenery, it's pretty well depicted, and again another really good scenery that has blended in well with the local surroundings and looks very realistic. The other thing I like about this airport, he's surrounded it with the concrete walls, as it is in real life. In the old days, many airports in Africa, local people often lived on the ground within the airport perimeter, setting up campfires and almost having farms and all sorts. So it took a long time for Nigeria to bring its airports up to IATA standard and essentially have a perimeter that couldn't be accessed by ordinary people without special permission. So all of the fence line completely surrounds the airport, as indeed it should. So that's the bit of history I can find out for you. Let's get down and have a look at the runways. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 23, and before I talk about runways and their facilities, here right in front of you, you can see a good example of the wall, perimeter wall that surrounds the airport. Here you can see it's been extended right out past the approach lighting system, and to the left and the right you can see the wall continues right around the airport. A really nice feature of this scenery, I think, and really kind of completes it. So let's drop the lighting down a bit and have a look at the runways and the lighting system itself. Okay, so here we are as before, looking down the throat of runway 23. Kaduna Airport operates a single runway 2305, measuring 9,843 feet or 3,000 meters in length, and is made from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of 2,073 feet or 632 meters. So it's what we would certainly call a high-level airport. Now both ends of this runway feature high-intensity airfield lighting system version 2 and precision approach path indicators, a single line light on the left side of the runway. You can see that there. Both ends of the runway also feature both RNAV and VR approach options, with runway 05 additionally having a VOR ILS approach option. Runway also has centerline lighting and touchdown zone lighting. Lastly, the runway also features a high-speed taxiway, or HST, which is essentially a long radius taxiway designed and provided with lighting or marking to define the path of an aircraft travelling at high speed, usually up to 60 knots, from the runway centre to a point on the centre of the taxiway. This is also referred to as a long radius exit or turn-off taxiway. And actually these turn-offs, they are lit and they do exist in the runway and taxiway scenery. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But here you can see runway 23. We've got the approach lighting as it should be. We've even got runway and identifier lighting here too. And you can see the touchdown zone lighting, and the centre line goes right the way down, and the actual runway is well lit. And here we are looking down the throat of runway 05, the other end of the runway. This is the one that has the ILS equipped, or is ILS equipped. Again, you can see the perimeter wall here goes all the way down past me and behind. And again, we can see the approach lighting, we can see runway end identifier lights, the touchdown zone lighting there, centre line, and the PAPIs, everything as it should be. Now before we leave the lighting thing completely, let's go and have a quick look at the high-speed taxiway turn-off. So drop the lighting down to 6:30 local time, just so you can get a good view and a good idea of this. Here's your high-speed exit, which is lit by centerline lighting all the way literally onto the main taxiway. This exit is at both ends, so if you're coming on 05 on the ILS, this is the exit you would see. And you have signage as well on both sides that is lit at night. We'll look at that later. And the same is true of the other end if you were making an approach onto runway 23. So that about does it for runways. Let's bring the daytime back and have a close look at the airport and have a tour around the airside ramp first of all. Okay, so we're going to start a tour, and we're at the northeast end of the airport, actually close to the threshold of runway 23 to the right there. Here's a daytime view showing you the central terminal area and the fire station there in the distance we'll look at in a minute. And there to the right you can see the high-speed exit for runway 05 landings. So let's get down, have a little tour and see what we can find. So as you can see, he's taken a lot of trouble here to install pretty much every building on or close to the airport, which is, it's highly commended. Okay, buildings are not hugely detailed, but they're okay. Fence lines been added, lighting's there. The roads haven't been developed, but when you think about it, as far as I understand it, the roads in Nigeria there aren't too many paved ones. So a little look at the fire station there. As you can see, models are, I think these are generic, but they're perfectly okay. As I said, the airport's a category 7 airport, so it has to have 24-hour fire cover, even though the airport's not open 24 hours. And here you can see we've got at least 6 fire tenders. And there you can see a foam unit as well at the back, which has been done. Quite a nice model, I've not seen that before. So let's continue the tour. As you can see, beautiful foliage placement and the fence line there. The whole thing looks pretty realistic. Now this is where the control tower should be. Okay, we've got the building, but we don't actually have the control tower as it should be. I'll put a picture up to show you what the tower looks like in real life at the moment. Something I found, and I don't know, hopefully maybe that'll be modelled. Only 2 things are missing from the scenery realistically: the control tower, properly modelled as it should be, and again it would be nice to see the interior of the terminal model, because it's not huge. There's the main terminal and there's the state lounge. We'll look at it in a minute. So the internal modelling isn't massive, but it would be nice to see. So there's the state lounge, and here we're coming out towards the main terminal airside. I'll just stop here for a moment. There are some animations. You can see this guy walking into the terminal here, who disappears about halfway. This chap, when I first saw him, I thought he was opening and closing the car door, which I thought was brand new, but he's not. He's just standing there waving. And you've got this guy walking across. There is another chap who walks along the side of the hangar up here, and we'll look at that in a bit. But all this modelling is accurate as per the real airport. And yeah, it's really nice, very, very nice. So there you can see our friend that's walking up in towards the terminal. As I said, it's a nice little animation, but he kind of disappears about halfway and starts again. You'll see that in a minute. There he goes. There's the chap by the car. The car models are fine. They're perfectly okay. They're not hugely brilliant, but they're perfectly okay, perfectly acceptable. Got a default fuel truck there, and a baggage truck with bags on it. And here you can see what appears to be a sort of a carousel thing in front of us here. So here's the other animated chap walking along this way, and you can see there's another guy standing by the stairs there. Nice amounts of various sort of airport clutter, baggage bins, stairs, bits and pieces there. No problem with that at all. And again, a really nice fence line and foliage. Here we're coming towards the GA hangar. And this is really nice. You've got a chap there standing by that Cessna. And a very nicely modelled interior of this big hangar here with bits and pieces inside it. There's a nice little beach barren there and an engineer guy working on it. There's the other animated chap walking down the side of that hangar. No internal development in that hangar, by the way. But lots of little bits and pieces here to make to give this a real nice feel about it. I mean, on first glance it looks a pretty sparse airport, but it's actually quite nice. It blends in really nice with the local area. So here we're coming up on the fuel farm, and there's only Jet A1 available here apparently, according to various sources I've seen, which I find rather strange because you've got GA aircraft hangar here too. But nice signage, nice modelling throughout here. Whole thing looks really, really nice. And there's a quick overview just showing you the distance and landside from this airport. We'll have a look at the landside closer in a minute, but you can see there's quite a lot here, as well blended in. In the daytime you can see the roads quite well, and there is some lighting here. You can see street lamps. We'll look at how it looks in the dark shortly. So a quick look at the high-speed exit here. Here's the one coming off runway 23 onto Bravo, which is the taxiway. As you can see, there's a nice sign there, and the centre line is delineated, and there are green lights there which you see during the darkness. And here we are looking at the threshold of runway 05. On the left there you can see the Alpha denotion and the sign that shows the red sign there. No wigwags, but you've got the blue airfield edge lights, which you can see here too. And you've also got the same sign reversed if you came in on 23 and had to exit right at the end of the runway. Bear in mind this is a high altitude airport. You get lots of heat in the summer, so landings tend to be long, but there you go. And just a quick shot of the runway 05 there. There's the threshold, touchdown zone here. Here's the ILS boxes and various bits of equipment, and you've got a windsock over there in the corner. So let's get a close-up look landside at the terminal now. So this is the main road into the airport. As you can see, you've got the control point here with the airport name. Again, it's a very simplified sort of buildings, no barriers or anything, but everything looks quite nice. Really, really good. And there you've got a bit of paved road there. And here you've got the road that goes landside of the terminal area. And that's the on-site headquarters of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. That's their control headquarters on the airport site. And here we are coming up to the terminal itself. You've got the State Lounge on the right side and the main terminal on the left. Now here's the control tower. And I'll show you the picture of the real control tower. It's the only thing that's not properly modelled. But no, nice modelling on the outside of the building here. Really, really pleasant. It just looks nice. There you go, air conditioning units. There's the entrances. And you've got departures written on the building there when you go out towards it. Nicely modelled, nothing fancy. They haven't gone over the top, but it's accurate and it looks nice. And here we are coming across the GA area. Car models are nice. Generally they're really, really nice. And here you've got some aircraft, some custom ones. And here you've got a couple of custom models of a now defunct airline. Aircraft are no longer in service and sort of just been left on the airfield. And again, nice to see them included as part of the scenery. So we just take a slow pass over the landside car park, and you can see the car models are really nice. Quite a variety, which is good to see. And the whole ambience just looks really nice. Very pleasant indeed. So as I said, this is the control tower building, and as I say, it hasn't been modelled. Hopefully maybe they'll fix that in the future. The airside ground markings, as you can see, are perfectly okay, everything down to the cones. Very, very nice. There's my aircraft parked on one of the stands. No jetways, of course. Everything's literally taxi in. Okay, so let's drop the lighting down to dusk and see what it looks like. So this is 6:20 in the evening, and I think I've done quite well. I've just got it down to that bit of sunset where the lights just come on, but the daylight hasn't entirely finished. As you can see, subtle lighting, very, very nicely done. And there you can see the sun sinking below the horizon. There's the runway nicely lit. And they're looking in the other direction. There's the threshold of runway 23. Again, you can see the center line lights, and you can see the blue airfield edge lights as well on the high-speed exit. So let's go down and have a look at the ramp close up. So here we are, just sort of moving across the ramp, and as you can see, the lighting's quite nice, quite adequate there. The big lamps light the area just as they should. Still see the animations. There's actually quite a really nice twilight effect on this airport. Just want to see if this guy goes out onto the runway. Don't think he does. But as you can see, the ramp in general is nicely lit at this time of the day. Signage looks good. Here you've got the sign here, indicates which direction you go for which runway, and the lighting is really nice. So let's just pass out over the terminal, across the land side, and it's just a beautiful atmosphere at sunset on this building, and the way it looks. I mean, I think that's really, really pleasant. And there you can see the effect on the landside part of the terminal. It's very, very nicely done. I like the lighting. The lighting is good. Haven't seen any Asobo globes yet, but I dare say they're around. And here you can see, as we go out towards the entrance to the airport on their main road, the entrance sign is lit up as well, which is a nice touch. And lit on both sides. So the sun's disappeared below the horizon now, and here you can see from this shot how the landside road system is lit. You've got lighting poles all the way down here, which give this road some sort of semblance of lighting, as indeed it should be. I believe these roads are kind of track things. They're not asphalt or tarmacked. Many roads in some of the minor places in Nigeria don't have tarmac roads. And again, the lighting is really subtle and looks very, very nice. So let's get down on the ramp and turn the lighting down to night time and have a look what it looks like. Okay, so 8:30 in the evening local time, and as you can see, the sun's well and truly gone, and we're now relying on the lighting of the airport itself. Looking directly at the terminal, lots of little subtle lighting. but for you and me as pilots, the ramp is well lit. There we look across the airside ramp and you can see plenty of lighting. You shouldn't have any problem getting into the parking positions. The lighting kind of sort of fades about here, but your nose gear light will help you find these lines and then taxi in. And again, you've got centerline lighting on the Bravo taxiway here, as well as airfield edge lighting. Here are your signage, and you've got your high-speed exits as well at both ends that are well lit. So coming into land at night time are perfectly okay. Bear in mind this airport operates between the hours of 6 AM and 11 PM. Outside of these hours the airport's closed. So a very quick tour across the airside part first in the darkness, just to have a look at the lighting generally. The GA hangar's lit, and there you can see the inside of that hangar is also lit, which is really good. I'm pleased about that. Nice downlighting on that hangar. Over here is the fuel farm, which unfortunately is not lit at all, although there's some road lighting. Again, you can see the lampposts there are providing the lighting as indeed they should. So we circle back towards landside now. There are the roads, various roads leading into various parts of the airfield. Nice little touches here and there. And as I said, the lighting is provided not by sobo globes but by proper lights, which is very, very, very good, very welcome thing in a scenery like this. We'll just pan out over towards the runway taxiway. Here you've got some vehicles as well that are lit at night. And here we're approaching the high-speed exit from runway 05 that comes onto the Bravo taxiway. And there you can see it's well lit. And there's another view of it at night time. Again, signage, everything looks okay. And there's the approach onto runway 23. Threshold is off to the left there. So all looks good. Okay, 6:45 in the morning. Literally, the airport's been open 45 minutes or so. Time to wrap up this review and give you my thoughts. Okay, first of all, do I think it's worth the price? Yes, it is. It's more than worth the price. At £10.30, and it includes tax, by the way, and $11.10. I don't think you can go wrong. As I said, prices are slightly cheaper at FLIGHTSIM.to, and I think you have the advantage that your prices should be quoted in your local currency when you access their website. That's something maybe somebody could check for me and come back and just let me know, but I believe that's the thing. But not a lot of difference in prices. It's literally pence. But yeah, what do I think? It's a lovely little airport. It's very nicely modelled. I'm surprised that the control tower is missing. In fact, you could argue that it's not actually missing. It's just the real control tower hasn't been placed in the scenery. That's a bit of a problem for me. I'd like to see the product updated with the real control tower as per the pictures I've shown you. Secondly, what would really make this scenery is the development of the terminal inside. I know people are going to say, no, it's not necessary, blah, blah, blah. And you're absolutely right. As a pilot, you've got everything you need here in terms of landing. The high-speed exits are properly marked and they're accurate as per the charts. No complaints at all. Navigationally, this airport is accurate, just as it should be. And it's nicely modelled to fit in with the terrain. It's yet another wonderful little airport that you could fly into out here. And you've got navigational aids for your airliners to be able to make an approach. But it would be nice to see the interior of the terminal developed a little bit. And also I think the lighting extended out to the fuel farm would help too. But those really, I mean, they're nitpicks, I suppose. Those are the only real comments I've got to make, really. Control tower is a little bit of a showstopper. I'm kind of surprised that he's made so much nice detail in the scenery, but the control tower is missing. But we'll see. Who knows, somebody may come back to me about that. But yeah, it's another wonderful little African airport, and you guys can have some fun. We really must do a flight up here, probably take off from somewhere like Cape Town or maybe Abidjan in Ivory Coast. I've got a very nice Ethiopian Airlines repaint for the 737-800, and maybe a chance to take this up here. We'll do a video. So there you go, folks. Kaduna International Airport in Nigeria, in Kaduna State. Delta November Kilo Alpha. It's a payware scenery by a development team called Make Africa Great Again. It's available for both PC and Xbox. This is version 1. Downloads 445 meg and it installs at 658 meg. Available from both SimMarket and from FLIGHTSIM.to website. Prices are similar but slightly cheaper at FLIGHTSIM.to. So those prices are the UK pounds, £10.30, or which equates to roughly €11.46, or $11.10 US, and those prices are taken from the FLIGHTSIM.to website. US and Euro prices are estimates, and they include VAT or tax, which, as I've said, may well vary depending on which country you're in when you make your purchase. It's a lovely little airport. I can thoroughly recommend it. It's great. Before I leave you, just a quick word about SIM Update 10. I've applied SIM Update 10. I had no problems with it, actually. I followed the usual procedure, went into the Microsoft Store library, added in all and any updates that were necessary, and then went into this, made sure the community folder that I had was renamed, so essentially didn't exist. And then I applied the update, which was around, I think it was about 4.5 gigs. And then having applied the update, I then went into Content Manager and updated, I think there was something like 7 or 8 updates to various world sceneries, and the whole thing took pretty well. So the update went pretty well, and I then renamed the community folder back to normal, loaded up the sim. What I have noticed, there are a number of real improvements. Now I've got an i9 9900K processor with 32 gigs of RAM, and I've got the NVIDIA GeForce RTX card, but it's only the 2080 Ti with 11 gigs of RAM on it, so it's not the top end one, it's probably the lower one. But I was getting quite nice flying, as you've seen in some of my videos. But actually, having applied SIM Update 10, two things. Firstly, the advice I've received is that if you have a high-end processor, i9 or better, you won't see an awful lot of an improvement using DLSS. And I'm running the latest drivers, by the way. And the other issue is that generally DLSS will help mid to lower range processors. So if you're in the i3, i5 range, you probably will get some improvement. And I've seen lots of little videos and bits and pieces around the net, people showing about the improvements. The big improvement I've noticed, two things. Firstly, my sim used to take anything up to 7 minutes to load. Would take about 4 minutes to get to the opening screen, and then anywhere between 4 minutes and 6 minutes to load the scenery. And my community folder isn't huge, but what I have noticed, I mean, I loaded this today in a minute, and I got to the opening screen in a minute and a half, and loaded the scenery in under 60 seconds. So I've seen huge improvements in the opening of the sim, which is a big plus for me. And I've managed to sort of stick up the detail a little bit more. Clouds are wonderful. Ground textures are good, and the fluidity, I don't have a frame rate counter, but the fluidity of the scenery, as you can see by me moving around it here, is excellent. So there have been improvements. Sim Update 10 has fixed a few crashes, improved the loading times, and generally just improved the look of what is already a stunning scenery outside the window. And as I've said to you many times, I love to look outside the window as well as fly the aircraft. We've got a beautiful simulator here that really simulates the real world in a way that we'd never seen before until this arrived, and now we're making it better. So for me, Sim Update 10 has gone reasonably well. I know that for many others it hasn't. I'm happy to talk to you about your experiences. and you can send me an email if you want. Go to my website. I've got a link at the top of the page where you can email me if you want to discuss this. But Sim Update 10 has worked really well, and as far as this airport goes, it's yet another wonderful addition to the African continent out there for you to enjoy. So this is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, once again wrapping up another review. Guys, thank you for joining me. I apologise for leaving you standing last week, but it was an important week for those of us in the UK, as I'm sure you'll agree, and I think it was the right thing to do. But now we're back and into the reviews. Look out for my next review, where I will be reviewing Copernicus International Airport in Wrocław in Poland. Another really nice, impressive scenery. That's coming out again this week, and all being well, we'll try and get a video out with a 737, probably going into the airport like this. What I might do is fly out of Abidjan or somewhere not too far away, a couple of hours away, and we'll film the landing. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. Thanks again for joining me. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe. I want to say before I wrap it as well, thank you very much to all my subscribers. I finally hit 500 subscribers. So that's an amazing achievement. I've been doing this just under 2 years now. And thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed, who interacts with me, who watches the videos. I apologise for the length of some of them, but I do tend to go into detail, and I'm hoping that many of you, that's what you want to see. So thanks to each and every one of my 500 subscribers, to those that have looked at me on Instagram as well, and on my website. You can find out more about me. So wrapping up the view, thanks ever so much. I will see you later this week when we look at this wonderful new airport in Poland. So this is Lee saying bye for now. Thanks again. Take care. Have a good week.